I know what you're thinking. Can he really have 15 new shortcuts I've not seen before? Well, let's find out. You've seen summarizing articles before, but what about if you could ask questions about its content? Automatically get a text with the stocks you're following and their current price. Find upcoming concerts by artist or by city. Create a text snippet menu to quickly put something on your clipboard. Quickly frame multiple screenshots with transparency. Save entire articles with inline images to Apple Notes. And at the end of this video, we're going to expand automation a little outside shortcuts to help you automate checking prices and seeing if products are in stock. And by the way, many of these shortcuts are inspired by those in my community. Join almost 4,000 people asking for shortcuts help, sharing shortcuts they've built, and become a member and you get access to my weekly live streams where I share shortcuts first before anywhere else. Watch every live stream replay with links to download all the shortcuts. Get access to my shortcuts database where you can search, priority shortcuts requests, and more. You can join by going to shortcut.bot or just scan this QR code. First up, I call this shortcut my summarize and inquiry. This you can run from the share sheet. It does use Apple Intelligence, and I'm going to specify which use Apple Intelligence in the little title cards before every shortcut. But whether it's an Apple News article or just an article you see on the web, it's going to provide you with a summary and then let you ask questions about that article. So for instance, I'll go over to Safari and let's say I'm reading an article like an iPhone Air review. Well, I'm just going to go to the share button, scroll down to my summarize and inquiry shortcut, and in a few seconds, I'm going to get a full summary of the article, just a few sentences. And then here's my summary, but let's say I want to know something specific. Well, when I tap done, I get the option to ask a question or just finish the shortcut. Well, I'm going to choose ask a question, and then I'll say, is Chance the author going to be using his iPhone as his main device? I'll tap done, and it's going to send that question along with the entire article through ChatGPT, and now I get an answer to my question. I can see that battery life isn't an issue because he can always charge while he's working from home. He does miss the telephoto camera, but hasn't missed the ultra wide. And when I tap done, I can ask follow-up questions, or if I'm done, I'll just tap done. This is really useful if you have data-heavy articles, like this is Apple's last earnings call. This is Jason Snell's 6 color summary. Well, I'll tap share, go down to summarize and inquiry. Again, it's going to give me a short 3-sentence summary of the article, gives me the main numbers of the earnings, talks about percentages, but maybe I have a specific question, like I'm going to ask if it quotes Tim Cook in this article at all. Then I'll see pull quotes or if Tim Cook is mentioned. So that's my summarize and inquiry. You could download this shortcut and all the shortcuts you see in today's video for free using the links in the description below. Next, someone in my shortcuts community wanted to get a text multiple times a day with the stocks they're following and the current price. This is using Yahoo Finance's API, which is totally free. You don't need an API key. You can run this shortcut right out of the box. When you run it, you're just going to get the current prices of whatever stocks you're following right here. If you want to change what stocks you're following, in this first text block, and I left a comment with instructions as well, just put the stock symbols each on its own line down here. You can have as many as you want. Again, just put each one on its own line. And then if you want to send this information to yourself as a text, at the very bottom action, just choose yourself as the recipient. When you import this shortcut from my link below, it will ask you to choose yourself once you download it. I'm going to put myself as the recipient, so I'll get this as a text message. And if you expand this last action, make sure Show Compose Sheet is turned off. This way it sends automatically. Now we can automate this to run multiple times a day or however often we'd like. I'll go over to the Automation tab, tap the plus icon, and let's choose Time of Day. Let's actually choose a time that's a couple minutes in the future. This way we can see that text message come in together. We want this to repeat daily and run immediately. Don't notify when run. I'll tap next and then just search for my shortcut. There's my auto stock check. I'll tap it here and we're good to go. In a couple minutes, I should get a text message with the current stock prices. If you want to get fancy, you can use an if statement to only send it Monday through Friday. Let me know if you want that down in the comments. Now, while we wait for that text message to come in, another member in the community wanted to be able to browse concerts by venue or artist. This is not using Apple Intelligence, so anyone can run this on your device. It's using the Ticketmaster API, which is free. You don't need to get an API key yourself, but I do find the results might be a little limited. So let me know down in the comments your experience. I want to find some other information to use in a shortcut like this. Bands in Town does not have access to their API currently, but you can choose artist or city. Then you can select your city or type one in, and it's going to show you all the concerts that are showing in that city. You can scroll down, you'll see the concert name, the concert date, the venue, and a link to actually get the tickets. So if you see a concert you like, just tap one in this menu, and you'll be sent directly to that web page where you can buy tickets. And not only can you search by city, but you can also search by artist. I'll search for one of my favorite trumpet players, Chris Bodie, and here we have his upcoming concert schedule. I see the dates, and if I tap one, it's going to open the link to that concert where I can buy tickets right here. Oh, and it's 9:16. We should have gotten a text message. Now I'm in a focus mode right now, but I did in fact get a text message from myself. And as you can see, the text actually says, at this time, these are the current prices for those stocks. Next, I've done a lot of dictating and adding that transcript to notes, but someone in my community wanted a shortcut where it creates a note, one per day, and either appends what they're dictating to that note or create the note if it's the first time of the day. So what this shortcut does is it creates a note that's just called Notes for today's date, and then it's going to have you start dictating. It's going to transcribe whatever you recorded. Then it's going to append to the same note for that one day, whatever you're saying. This person is on a production floor and wanted to be able to make notes throughout the day. So you can run this one shortcut, put this on your action button or a back tap, and it'll just ask you to start dictating. So we're going to dictate what we need to do. Camera A, camera B, this and that. When you're done recording, just tap to finish, and it's going to transcribe it and append it to a note. So there's our note for today. It has the first dictation, and if I run it again, it's not going to create a new note. It's actually just going to append it to the one note we already created for today. I'll tap to finish this recording, and we should see that transcription get appended to that same note. And there we go. By the way, if taking notes and capturing text is a priority for you, there is an incredible app on iPhone. I've been using them for years, and I'm honored that they've become a sponsor in this video. And that's the app called Drafts. It's recently been updated to have a ton of shortcuts actions, even things like live activities. I've been using Drafts for years, and it is simply the fastest way to capture text on your device. I just love how extremely fast it is, and when you open the app, it's just ready to type. This could be useful if you're taking notes, maybe it's a journal entry. And again, you can have multiple pages of what to do with this text. These are my favorites, but you can also have basics, so send this in a markdown email, send it in a text message, and these actions are all lightning fast. I actually use Drafts every time I share a new episode of Primary Technology. It gets the links to the latest episode, creates it in Drafts, and then I can add a little context for what this episode is about, and then share that on social media. Drafts also supports widgets, and you can customize what controls appear here. If I edit the widget, I can choose to reorder and add new actions to this widget, all different sizes, and it supports control center actions. I can create a new draft here. And if maybe you're doing some research and you want to keep adding text, Drafts even supports live activities, and there's a shortcuts action to either start or end a live activity. You can choose what draft to actually link to in that activity. And then once you run this shortcut, that live activity is going to live up here in the dynamic island. You can search the web, do some research, and anytime you need to quickly access that draft, you just tap it in the dynamic island. I also love that if you have text on a clipboard, you can quickly press one of the actions in the widget, and it will take what's on your clipboard and create a new draft. And you can customize this editor however you would like. Go to the editor settings. You can change from light and dark, lots of different color themes. You can go here and even download more themes from the website. And you have control to everything from font to size and the controls you see while you're making drafts. If you love shortcuts, you'll love Drafts. So go to getdrafts.com/Robles or just scan this QR code right here. The link will also be in the video description, and you can get 50% off an entire year. Now you can download and use Drafts for free, try it out, and if you love it, which I think you will, $10 for the entire year. That's at getdrafts.com/Robles or scan this QR code for 50% off your first year. My thanks to Drafts for sponsoring this video. Next, someone in my community wanted to be able to log their favorite fishing spots from a shortcut. Well, when you run this, it's actually going to choose whether you want to log a fishing spot or browse from your past spots and get directions to it. When you log a spot, it's actually going to ask for any details, get the current weather, and then add all that information to the entry. When you run it, if I choose log fishing spot, it's going to ask if there's any details on it, or you can skip it. It'll mark the weather, the date you visited, and the city. Then if I want to browse the spots I've logged and get directions back, I'll tap Browse Spots. I can ask for any filters like the month I visited, the time of year, the city or state. Then I'll be presented with a list to choose from. And then when I tap a result, it's going to open it in Apple Maps so I can start getting directions. Next, I've been trying all the different AIs, and someone asked for a shortcut for a quick question to Perplexity. So if you like using Perplexity, you can get an API key if you're on the Pro or Ultra plan. Ask it whatever question you like. I have a stock question there. What's the average rainfall in the Amazon basin? And you're just going to get a reply. Not an ongoing conversation, just one question. You get the reply right here in Shortcuts, and that's it. In the version of the shortcut you download below, it needs your API key right here in the text block, which you can get on Perplexity's website. Next, there's a lot of short text snippets or URLs that I share often. Maybe it's a link to my YouTube channel or social media, or maybe it's your email address or physical address. Well, this was just a simple idea I had to create a text snippet, choose from a menu, and then it puts that text snippet on your clipboard. Also shows you a notification that it actually worked. Then you can put this on your action button or maybe a back tap to quickly access it. When you run it, you choose which thing you want on your clipboard, maybe my YouTube channel link. I'll get a notification letting me know what has been put on my clipboard. You can add multiple options to that top menu, as many things as you would like. And now you can quickly put something on your clipboard from your action button or back tap. Next, someone in my community wanted a shortcut that will add an alert to an event if they forgot to add the alert to the event when it was created. So what this shortcut does is finds any calendar events across all your calendars that start today, so you would automate this to run every morning. If an event has no alarms, it's going to subtract an hour from the start time and then create an alarm, like an alarm clock alarm, to go off an hour before that event, and it's going to say the name of the event as the alarm, so you know what it is. Let's create an event. We'll have it start at 10:35 today. We'll call it test alarm, and I won't have an alert set. So if we create that event with no alert, now when I run this shortcut, and again, you can automate this to run every day, it's going to create alarms for anything that didn't already have an alert. Now, it also looked at my birthday calendar, so you might want to go up to this top, add a filter, and say, not birthday calendars, not US holidays, but there's that test alarm that we just added. So at 9:35, in a couple minutes, we should get an alarm going off with the name of the event to let us know what it's for. You can also go directly to the clock app, and you'll see there's our test alarm named with the event title and this birthday alarm, which I don't need. I'm gonna delete that. And another event-based shortcut, someone in my community is scheduled to go to Pilates class, but you can use this for any kind of event, and they need to be able to cancel if they're not gonna go with more than 4 hours notice. So what this shortcut will do is put whatever event you need to find. Maybe it's Pilates, maybe it's a class. I'll just put the word call in here, and then it's gonna find any events on your calendar for today with that word or phrase in the event title. Then what it's gonna do is create a reminder that's over 4 hours before that event to say cancel. And again, you could change the name of the reminder right here, but I'll just run the shortcut. And again, you can have this automate to run at any time of day. And because I had an event with the word call in the title of the event, again, put Pilates or whatever you need, it created a reminder for 9:45 a.m. today to cancel it, and saying that's the cancellation window. So if you need to be notified of events like 4 hours ahead, that'll create a reminder for you. Next, I've had several requests to add an entire article with inline images to Apple Notes. Now, I've had some weird behaviors. I've not been able to get this to work from the share sheet. I don't know why. I'm asking for some expert help from Matthew Casanelli. Stay tuned, you might see some stuff from me and him. Then when you run this shortcut, it's gonna ask for a URL. I'm just gonna paste that URL here. It's gonna get the title and body from that. And look, it created an Apple note. Title of the article is the title of the note. And all the images, including hyperlinks in the text, are added to this note. Think of it as like a super reader view. So now you have the entire article with the images where they're supposed to go right here in Apple Notes that quickly. Doesn't need Apple Intelligence or any kind of AI. So you just run the shortcut and paste the URL you want. I'll get this working in a share sheet soon. I'm not sure why it's not working, so if you know why, let me know down in the comments. But if you use Bear Notes, there's also a great shortcuts action for that as well. This one does work great from the share sheet. It creates a note from whatever website you're sharing and opens that in Bear. So if you're a Bear user like me, you can be on that same web page. Let's go to the share menu. I'll go to more. And this one's called Create Note from Web. I probably should put Bear in the title, but it's going to do the same thing. Get the text, the images, and there it is. Title, images, all inline, easily readable. So works great in Bear through the share sheet. Links to all those below as well. Next, someone in the community wanted the ability to scan checks and parse that information to something like an Apple Note. When you run it, you can choose from your photo library or take a picture. I'm going to choose Photo. I have a fake image of a check here. It's going to parse the information from that check and then add it to Apple Notes. And there you'll see check scanned, gives me the date and time, name, check number, the date of the check, and the amount. Now you can have this information go to a numbers spreadsheet or append it to a single note, so let me know how you would like that one customized down in the comments. In my last roundup video, I had a shortcut that put an inspirational quote on a wallpaper. Well, someone asked, I want to use my own quotes. How can I do that? Well, what this shortcut does is, if you have a note called My Quotes, so you'll need to create that note first. Just make sure the title is simply My Quotes. Then you can have a bunch of quotes that you enjoy, put each quote and its attribution on one line, and then each new quote on a new line. And this shortcut, whenever you run it, it's just going to get a random quote from that list and show it to you here in an alert. You can run this at any time or automate it to run at a certain time of day, and you'll see a random quote every time. Then you can change the last part of that shortcut to overlay the quote on a wallpaper. you can see my last shortcuts video, which I'll link above, and put the QR code here. And there you can download my quote on wallpaper shortcut. Next, in my last video, I did a book finder shortcut, and someone asked if they could pull the information from Goodreads when they search for a book. Well, you can absolutely do that. So if I search for a book here, I'll search for Stolen Focus. If you don't know the author, you can leave it blank. You can also leave the title blank and just search for an author. But here are the book results. This is using the Open Library API, I believe. Choose one of the books right here. That's the book I intended. And then it's going to show you results in Goodreads. I can't automatically get it from Goodreads because sometimes there's multiple books that have very similar titles and or from authors. Sometimes there's workbooks in addition to the full books. So you're going to have to choose from menu one more time. This is the book I intended to. And when you select it, it'll add that book to your reminders with the book's information and a link to that book over on Goodreads. So you could tap that and it'll open it right here. And this last shortcut is about screenshots, so I'm going to take a few here. I'll take that screenshot of Goodreads, take one of my home screen, and one of this home screen. So now I have 3 screenshots, and I want to quickly frame those screenshots, but then save them as PNGs with transparency, maybe to use like in a keynote slide or similar. Well, this shortcut repeats with multiple screenshots. It lets you choose them from your photos, and then it's going to frame each one with the device frame, but no background. So you can then use these on a slide or in other things you're creating, and then it deletes the original screenshots, so you don't have those kind of muddying up your photo library. So when I run this, I can choose multiple screenshots. I'll choose those last 3 that I took, tap the blue check, and it's going to save them to the desktop folder in Files. Then it's going to ask if I want to delete those original screenshots, and I do. I just want the framed versions, and then that's it. And if I go to my desktop now in Files, here on my desktop folder, I have those 3 screenshots framed nicely with the actual device frame ready to put, and these are all PNGs with transparency ready to overlay however I'd like. Link to download this and all of the ones in this video in the description. All right, and one last thing. It's not a shortcut, but it's using Pushcut, which is a great app that I've talked about lots of times in videos. And if you want a notification when an item that you're following changes price, if it's out of stock and comes back in stock and you want to get notified, this is how you do it. I've been wanting to get that Ubiquiti travel router and it was out of stock and I kept missing it when it was in stock. So thanks to Casey Liss over at the ATP podcast, he told me about changedetection.io. Here you can track any URL, any product that you want. It is a paid service, not super cheap. It's like $8 a month, but if you only need to track something for a month or 2, then you're done. And you can track multiple things with that plan. Once you put in the URL here and your payment information, then you get a dashboard like this. And here you can add products, you can add websites of any kind. Here you'll see I have my travel router notification. But let's say I want to track a product on Amazon to see if the price changes. Well, I'm going to go get this product. This is actually my favorite MagSafe battery right now. I still have to make a video on it, but I'll put a link to this down in the description. But I'll get the link to this product. And then here in changedetection.io, I'm going to choose the restock and price detection for pages with a single product. That's what this is. And I'll paste that URL right here. Then I'm going to click watch. Now it's added that to my watch list. You see it's checking it right now, but let's say I want to get a notification on my iPhone when anything changes. Well, I'm going to click the edit button on the right side of this product. Then below that, you can change how often change detection looks for changes, if you want to do every 30 minutes, every hour, or if once a day is enough. And here I'm going to go to the notifications tab. Here, we're actually going to get a Pushcut URL to get a notification on our phone. Now here on my iPhone, I'm going to open the Pushcut app. I'll put a link to download it in the video description. Now Pushcut is free to use up to 3 notifications. Then if you want more, you do have to pay. I use this for all kinds of notifications, like when a door is left open because HomeKit doesn't have notifications like that, when my iPad is low or charged, same with my MacBook. So Pushcut has a lot of different utility. But let's say I want to create a new notification. I'll tap the plus icon here in Pushcut, and I'll name this something, and this is just for my reference. I'll call this my CoolSill battery notification. Then here under notification, this is what you'll actually see in that Pushcut notification. I like putting a little emoji here in the title of it. And let's say CoolSill battery change. Now you can have more text in the notification, but I don't need that. I'll delete that. Then under default action, I'm going to make this open the URL when I tap the notification. This way you can quickly get back to that product. Here I'll choose URL and then enter the URL to that product on Amazon. I'll paste the URL right there, tap the blue check, and that's it. I just tap the blue check and copy the URL. You'll see that appear once you've actually saved all the information. So I'm going to copy the URL, tap copy here, and thanks to Universal Clipboard, I can paste that URL here in the notification URL list. I'll paste it. There's my Pushcut URL. And then the last thing you have to do, because it's going to give you this error if you just leave it alone, change HTTPS to JSON. So you literally just replace the letters HTTPS with JSON, and then I'm going to save this notification, and we're good to go. Now I'm going to get notified if the price changes, if the stock changes, whether it goes in or out of stock. And you can see it's now checking it. It now reads it as in stock, but we can test this notification to make sure everything's working. I'll go back to that notifications tab. And then when I click send test notification, I should see that notification on my iPhone. I'll go here to my lock screen so we can see it come in. I click test notification, and there it is. The Pushcut notification came right in, tells me there's a battery change. And if I tap this, it should load that product in Amazon. And sure enough, it did. So if you want to keep a track on stock alerts or any website where you want to check the change, changedetection.io plus Pushcut. It's a great combination, especially if maybe you want to pre-order something like a Nintendo Switch or other product, and you want to know exactly when it goes on sale, even if it goes on earlier than when a brand has said it will. This is the way to do it. So links to all the shortcuts, apps, and websites I talked about in this video are down in the description, as well as the link to join my shortcuts community. There you can go to shortcut.bot or just scan this QR code, join thousands of other people asking for shortcuts help, submitting shortcuts they've built. And if you become a member, it supports this channel and me, which you might notice I took away that join on the actual YouTube channel. I didn't really have a lot of benefits for members here specifically on YouTube, so that's gone away. If you were already a member, you won't be charged anymore. And the best place to support this channel and myself as an independent creator is at shortcut.bot. And when you join, you get access to my weekly live streams, all the stream replays, and Shortcuts University, if you're interested, actually starts this Monday, February 2nd. Information down in the description for that as well. Thank you for watching. I'll put my last Shortcuts video right up here, and a video all about home automation, if you're into that, right up here. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button before you go. And once again, thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.